Welcome to my videos. What is the first step in order to learn to speak a new language? Any new language. Please hang around and you will be hearing stuff that you've never heard before. All languages are the same, according to my godfather, the godfather of linguistics, Mr. Noam Chomsky. There's an underlying structure. So what is it that I'm really doing right now? Well, I'm coming out with a whole bunch of sounds in a particular pattern that the person that's listening to me their brain is able to identify that pattern of sounds coming out of my mouth, which we may call words, but they're not really words. They're just a string of sounds connected together into what we call an utterance. So we speak in utterances. Really kind of shocking, when the teacher asks you to get up in front of the class and try to speak a language you are not familiar with. That's what you're supposed to try to do when you're starting, and throughout, actually. The skills will get better. What you should be trying to do is to actually speak the language that you want to learn how to speak, whether that be Swahili or German or Russian or whatever. In this case, it's Spanish, or whether it be English too. And I'll be mentioning learning to speak English also in this. It's really important, especially for people that already speak English and are having trouble learning to speak Spanish. And they'll know why and they'll know what to do. So we're going to start to practice to speak, but using our time a lot more effectively, because the internet allows us to do that, because I'm on tape right now and you can just replay that tape over and over and over again until you as many times as you want to. Where in the classroom, they had less than 60 seconds of talking. I mean, it took 2 hours out of their life, the 1 hour class, and then getting to the class and going home from the class. That's 2 hours. So that they only got maybe less than 60 minutes or 60 seconds of talking. That's just not enough. You need a lot more than that. So now we know what we're supposed to be doing, okay? Now we're going to go into the section of how are we going to be practicing to speak a language that some of us have never heard before, or we've never practiced speaking it before, and we've never practiced learning any new language before. We think we don't have any skills, but you do. You'd be surprised what you can do by learning how to repeat, or learning by listening. You listen to something, and if you repeat it, you're on the right track. I mean, really on the right track. See if you can guess what you think I'm going to get you guys to start practicing at the very beginning. Excellent again. We got our favorite word. That word is cabron. Cabron. If you want me to spell it for you, C-A-B-R-O-N. C-A-B-R-O-N. How many sounds are involved? That's where we're going to start. You can start with just 2 sounds. You can learn just 2 sounds in any language, and then learn 3 sounds together, and then 4 sounds and 5 sounds, and you can build your way up to how many sounds you can utter, or how many sounds can come out of your mouth in a connected string with a certain pattern, and they have to have meaning, or else why even learn them? So what we're going to be trying to do is, on these videos that I'll be putting out, we're going to start with a word, cabron, which has about 5 or 6 sounds, and I'll go right into them in a second. But I want you to start looking for other words that you can start pronouncing that have meaning. So your 6 sounds or 5 sounds have actual meaning, which is, some people say are called words, but they're not really called words. because you don't pronounce all the sounds involved in a word. You just, when you're speaking, you only say those sounds that fit that certain pattern that you're trying to go for, depending on the particular language that you're trying to learn to speak. So speaking is totally different than reading from a book. It's totally different than what people think speaking is about, and that's why I want to put this content on the internet. Remember, the brain is already programmed to learn to speak. We're the only animal in this whole universe right now, anyway, that can actually speak. And I'll debate that with anybody. You know, I've been trying to teach my dog to speak, but he's got no lips. Anyway, just a joke. That's just a joke. I really have, though. I've been trying to teach animals to speak, but so far no success. You can talk to me more about that on my Buy Me Coffee forum. Anyway, you can find me there, and you want to chit-chat with me, you can. But so this is the beginning. So what have you gained from this video? Well, you know what you're supposed to be doing now if you want to learn to speak, to actually speak a new language. If you want to learn to speak a new language, you have to practice speaking it. And a language has so many words and sounds, and where do you start? Well, you start with a meaningful utterance. Remember what I said utterance is, the sounds that come out of your mouth until you have to pause, or you want to pause, or you must pause. So we have our first word, cabron, ka, that's two sounds, the k and the a, ka, and then the v, you spell it as a B, but the Spanish B is a lot softer. You say it, ka, and then the R and the O in the end. So it's cabron. Ka, that's two sounds. And then B-R-O-N. That's six sounds for one quote-unquote word. I don't see it as a word. I just see it as a group of sounds with a particular pattern that have a particular meaning that can be interpreted by another brain that exists in that particular language and can gather some meaning from what I'm saying, and vice versa when they're talking to me, so it all works together. You only learn utterances. That's what we're learning, not words, but utterances that have a meaning, and that's why we speak. This is for communications. What are you supposed to be doing? I'll say it one last time. You're supposed to be speaking that language that you're trying to learn to speak. It's like, you know, I'm talking about this way. I'm not talking this way. So that's what you got to do. And people are like, well, how can I do it? You know, I've never heard that. And start listening to it, and then start gathering, figuring out which word. I'm introducing these kind of words. These are called, in English, they're called bad words. In Spanish, they're called maledictions. That's what the word cabron, which is where we're starting, and we're going to start making those utterances longer and longer with more sounds in them, and they're going to have meaning and bigger meaning and so on and so forth, until you can do like 7 words if you can do 7 words, that's about 50 sounds coming out in order to make a 7-word sentence, if you will. I don't want to talk about sentences either, because when we speak, we don't speak in sentences. We speak in utterances. We don't finish sentences, or we don't, you know, we pause when we want to, instead of putting, you don't put a comma on our pause or whatever. It's different. So writing and reading are very, very different than speaking and listening. And what we'll be practicing is speaking and listening. Okay, so I hope this video is not too long. And I'm just starting. This is my first video, and I'm going to try to do at least 1 a week. And that's what I hear you have to do. So I'll be doing, so your homework for this one is try to find some words besides cabron, which is a bad word, you know, really. But that's what people want to learn. I found in my 50 years or whatever it is of teaching people how to speak new languages, I found that somehow or another, they learn all by themselves. They learn the bad words first. That one I've never gotten. I don't know, understand why. But people have, and that's really the first introduction to their new language that they want to learn to speak. And people really know a couple of bad words in a couple of different languages. We always keep that in our brains. Maybe we can use them someday. Anyway, thank you very much, and watch me again. Wait for me next week. You look for the meaning first. Whatever it is that you're going to learn how to say, it has to have a meaning before you learn to say it, or else why bother? You're just going to learn words randomly. It just doesn't work. The brain doesn't process them like that. 200,000 years of programming our Homo sapien head to speak. We're the only ones that can do it. Dogs can't do it. Cats can't do it. Nobody can do it. They don't have the lips. I got lips. Probably I can say P's and B's and F's. I got teeth with my lips. F's. I can say the F or the V. I can say many sounds other animals can't say because they just don't have lips. Plus, they don't have the vocal cords in the correct place. All other animals' vocal cords are higher, too high to make sounds that are varied enough to create those patterns of sounds that make up utterances. This is the way we speak. Okay. Thank you very much. See you next week. And if you want to contact me, I think that's the only forum I got going right now. I'm just starting. Is Buy Me Coffee or something like that. I've never talked to anybody. I haven't used it yet, but it's there if you want to communicate. Thank you very much. Bye.